Welcome to Storehouse of the Heart. I'm your host, Kim Wilson, and here at Storehouse, we write, read, investigate, think, and examine scripture together each week. And this week, our passage of scripture was found in John 15:15. Let's read our passage from the NIV translation. It says, I no longer call you servants because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I've learned from my Father, I have made known to you. This week, I found it really hard to just focus in on one or two attributes of God as I studied. And even as I prepared this morning, I've gone back and forth about what to share. But one thing I want to think about when we think about God is that He is truthful, that whatever God speaks or does is truth and reality. And the reality for us is that God has demonstrated His love for us, that He has reconciled us and He has restored us into relationship with Him. And so that is some good news. I want to just think through our passage of scripture today and think on what it tells us about God, us, and others. So, as we think through this week and what our passage has told us about God, ourselves, and others, I wanted to zoom out. Let's read John 15:11 through 15. I'm going to read in the Message paraphrase version today. Here's what it says. I've told you these things for a purpose, that my joy might be your joy, and your joy wholly mature. This is my command. Love one another the way I've loved you. This is the very best way to love. Put your life on the line for your friends. You are my friends when you do the things I command you. I'm no longer calling you servants because servants don't understand what their master is thinking and planning. No, I've named you friends because I've let you in on everything I've heard from the Father. So, what Jesus is telling us in this passage of scripture this week is for a purpose. It's so that our joy may be made fully mature, that we would be in on God's plans, His plans to demonstrate His love for us, to teach us how to love others sacrificially and how to love God supremely. And He is letting us know that our status, our relationship has changed. He calls us friends. And He teaches us how to love and how to live. We read about this in Romans 5:6 through 8. Let's read it in the Passion Translation. For when the time was right, the Anointed One came and died to demonstrate His love for sinners who were entirely helpless, weak, and powerless to save themselves. Verse 7. Now, would anyone dare die for the sake of a wicked person? We can all understand if someone was willing to die for a truly noble person. But Christ proved God's passionate love for us by dying in our place while we were still lost and ungodly. So, through Jesus, God has demonstrated His love for us. He has laid down His life for us as an example, as a way to show us how to sacrificially love others. He has demonstrated His love for us, y'all, and He did not wait till we were doing well. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. That is such good news. And not only that, He lets us in on His plans. He lets us know who God is. He tells us, He demonstrates the nature and character of God. Let's read from John 14, verses 9 and 10 in the New Living Translation. Jesus replied, Have I been with you all this time, Philip? And yet you still don't know who I am? Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. So why are you asking me to show him to you? Don't you believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The words I speak are not my own, but the Father who lives in me and does His work through me. So, not only has Jesus demonstrated His love for us and shown us the character and nature of the Father, He reveals the heart and mind as He prays for us. I'm going to read John 17:24 through 26, but I would really encourage you, if you have time today, go back and read and meditate on this prayer. We're going to read this part of it, though. I'm going to start here in verse 17 in the New Living Translation. Father, I want these whom you have given me to be with me where I am. Then they can see all the glory you gave me because you loved me even before the world began. Oh, righteous Father, the world doesn't know you, but I do. And these disciples know you sent me. I have revealed you to them, and I will continue to do so. Then your love for me will be in them, and I will be in them. The prayer that we just read tells us and emphasizes to us what Jesus himself tells us through the chapter of John 15, that he wants us to abide and dwell in his love, and that his love would dwell in us. One commentary put it this way: Jesus prayed that his disciples would not only be filled with the love of God the Father, but they would also know the indwelling presence of Jesus himself. That's what you and I have been invited to as well. That we would be invited into the friendship and the fellowship that Jesus himself has with the Father. That is the relationship that we are invited to. This friendship with God. What a great and wonderful gift that is, to be called a friend of God. I pray that the Lord blesses you and blesses the reading of his word this week, and that he keeps you until we join together again next week. And I'll put next week's scripture at the end of the video.